Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Giridharadhari
Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunj Bihari Jai Hare Krishna.
This is our Sravanam Saturday. Not that many participants in person, but a lot of them on YouTube. And we are. Yes, so we are, we have been studying the Srimad Bhagavatam for about 2 years now, and this is the last chapter of first canto. We are about to finish the last chapter of the first canto, chapter 19. And today, every Saturday, we have different speakers, special speakers, very exalted devotees. Radha Devi dasi. She is gonna discuss text 20 to 24, where all the sages are appreciating Pariksit Maharaj's questions. Okay, so we'll start. Shri Radha.
Jnanam timirandasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai shri gurave namaha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udirayet Nashta Prayesha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Hare Krishna. So I'm giving a class after I think 7 to 8 months. So whatever I speak is based on Srila Prabhupada as well as other senior devotees in lectures. So if I make any mistakes, please forgive me. We're going to start the Sanskrit of text 20 first. Nava idam rajarshivariya chitram Bhavat Sukrishnam Samanuvrateshu Yedhyasanam Rajakirita Justam Sadyo Jahur Bhagavat Parshvakamaha I'm just going to repeat the whole verse again, and then you can repeat the whole verse again. Nava idam rajarsivarya chitram bhavat sukrishnam samanuvrateshu yedhyasanam rajakirita justam sadyo jahur bhagavat parshvakamaha.
Nama idam raj rishivaya chitram bhavatu krishnam samanurvateshu yedhyasanam raja kirita justam sadyo jahul bhagavat parshvakamaha.
Okay, translation by you want to say? Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. O chief of all the saintly kings of the Pandu dynasty, who are strictly in the line of Lord Sri Krishna, it is not at all astonishing that you give up your throne, which is decorated with the helmets of many kings, to achieve eternal association with the personality of Godhead. So, just giving a brief context before Shamakrishi. Just before this chapter, we went through that he was feeling thirsty, and he went to the hermitage of Shamakrishi, and he was not received well, so he garlanded Shamakrishi with the snake, and he left that area feeling very upset and disappointed. As soon as he left, he started feeling that guilt, that what have I done? How could I have done this to a Brahmana? Like, it's not even possible that I could have done this to such a great saintly person. So he was feeling very guilty, and he, instead of thinking or justifying the offense that he performed, just like we do, whenever we do some offenses, we think, oh, I did this because they did that. Or we do the blame game. Instead of doing that, what he felt that he deserved punishment. Just not any type of punishment, severe death penalty punishment. He actually felt so regretful of his action. So when he heard about the curse from Shamakrishi's son, Shringi, he felt relieved that finally I have got, I deserve this punishment. And he could have easily counteracted the curse because he's so powerful king. He's a great devotee of the Lord. If he wanted, he could have chosen, oh, I am a king. I have a duty towards my citizens and my family. Who will be the king after me? Like, how can I just leave my citizens behind? No, he did not think all those things. He directly decided to leave all his worldly orders and go to the pure Ganges and sit there, meditate till death, till he dies. Actually, he wanted to fast till death. So instead of justifying his actions and or counteracting Shringi's curse, which Shringi did not needed to have done it, because the king's actions are never condemned. That we have studied so deeply in our previous chapters. But Pariksit Maharaj, being such an exalted devotee of the Lord, he was sure that he deserved this punishment, and he wanted to go through it, no matter what. So now the context comes. So he has now reached the banks of Ganges, and he has very much decided that he's going to fast till death. And hearing the news of this, the heavenly sages, the demigods, everyone from everywhere, the denizens were wanting to see this passing away of the great exalted Pariksit Maharaj, because they knew that for sure he was going to go back to Golok Vrindavan. So that's why all the sages had assembled where King Pariksit was there, and that's when the sages said this particular verse. Now I'm going to go into the purport. Foolish politicians who hold political administrative posts think that the temporary posts they occupy are the highest material gain of life, and therefore they stick to those posts even up to the last moment of life, without knowing that achievement of liberation as one of the associates of the Lord in his eternal abode is the highest gain of life. The human life is meant for achieving this end. The Lord has assured us in the Bhagavad Gita many times that going back to Godhead, his eternal abode, is the highest achievement. Prahlad Maharaj, while praying to Lord Nrsimha, said, "Oh my Lord, I am very much afraid of the materialistic way of life, and I am not the least afraid of your present ghastly, ferocious feature as Nrsimhadev. This materialistic way of life is something like a grinding stone, and we are being crushed by it. We have fallen into this horrible whirlpool of the tossing waves of life, and thus, my Lord, I pray as at your lotus feet to call me back to your eternal abode as one of your servitors. This is the summit liberation of this materialistic way of life. I have very bitter experience of the materialistic way of life. In whichever species of life I have taken birth, compelled by the force of my own activities, I have very painfully experienced two things, namely separation from my beloved and meeting with what is not wanted. And to counteract them, the remedies which I undertook were more dangerous than the disease itself. So I drift from one point to another, birth after birth, and pray to you, therefore, to give me shelter at your lotus feet." So I'm going to stop here, discuss, and then continue. So in our modern times, we have seen our leaders, they're hankering for those high posts like president, prime minister. Every 4 years we vote. Not only in this country, in every country we have seen leaders hankering for the highest post possible, administrative post possible. And once they achieve that, they think that they have gained the highest achievement possible on earth. And they feel like staying in that post forever until death. But little do they know that with time and by that post becomes temporary. They have to leave it one day nor the other. They don't realize that. They act as an ignorant fool because they don't understand that there is this continuous cycle of birth and death. And if whatever you achieve in one lifetime, you lose in the next lifetime. So there is no reason to hanker for such menial achievements. Instead, the Lord says the highest achievement would be to become the associate of the Lord in his eternal abode. In fact, the Lord has several times mentioned about his spiritual abode, about Golok Vrindavan in our Bhagavad Gita. Yad gatvana nivartante tad dhama paramam mama. Those who reach this spiritual abode by practicing devotional service, they never have to come back to this temporary and miserable material world, which has duality. Because the Vaikuntha planets, Vaikuntha meaning without any anxiety, is free of any misery. It's eternal happiness out there. So once we go there, we never want to come back here. And it's very nice that Srila Prabhupada has brought Prahlad Maharaj's prayers in this purport, because we can learn from Prahlad Maharaj what he's trying to teach us from his prayer to Nrsimhadev. He's clearly saying, or he's instructing us to be fearful of the materialistic way of life. We should not feel that, okay, I'm in this material world, let it go, let me go with the flow. Many of us have this. In our generation, we all want to enjoy completely this one lifetime. Yeah, because you never know when you will die. So that's why just make use of every moment, have fun, and enjoy to the fullest. But little do we know that this is not the only life. We have been taking birth in different species for so many lifetimes, millions and millions of lifetimes, that we are ignorant of. And that's why we think, let's enjoy. And then we realize that our enjoyment is also temporary, because we have to suffer birth, disease, old age, as well as death. All those four processes are so painful, we don't realize it. Because we've take advantage of our situation, of our good situations. And we feel that whatever bad situation is taking place, oh, it's part of life. we'll still go with the flow. But Prahlad Maharaj, a 5-year-old exalted devotee whose spiritual master is Narad Muni himself, has clearly told us in this prayer that the materialistic way of life is something like a grinding stone, and we are being crushed by it, but we don't realize it. And we are compelled by the force of our own activities to suffer painful experiences. So sometimes we'll have great situations, and then suddenly, with the time, we are forced to experience some bitter, very bitter experiences. And then once we experience such a bitter experience, then we should immediately think, or we should try to meditate that, please, the Lord, please make me take shelter under your lotus feet. That is so important. And he has mentioned it very nicely. What are the two painful experiences that he feels being in this material world? Number one is being separated from my beloved, that is Lord Krishna. And then meeting with what is not wanted, meaning meeting with unwanted miseries thrown at you at any moment of time. We don't know when unwanted miseries can come in our life. So those two things are the byproducts of this material world. Separation from our beloved, and second, throwing off unwanted miseries at any point of time. The interesting fact of his prayer is that Narsingadev, when he came, if you see picture, he's half lion, half man, very ferocious. And Prahlad Maharaj, who was 5 years old, he was not afraid of the Lord. Instead, he's afraid of the materialistic way of life, because he knew, he had such great faith that Narsingadev had come to protect his devotees but kill the atheistic demons. So that's the purpose of the Lord coming to this world. He comes to establish dharma and destroy those who are against dharma. Moving on with the purport. The Pandava kings, who are more than many saints of the world, knew the bitter results of the materialistic way of life. They were never captivated by the glare of the imperial throne they occupied, and they sought always the opportunity of being called by the Lord to associate with him eternally. Maharaj Pariksit was the worthy grandson of Maharaj Yudhishthir. Maharaj Yudhishthir gave up the imperial throne to his grandson, and similarly, Pariksit Maharaj, the grandson of Maharaj Yudhishthir, gave up the imperial throne to his son Janmejaya. That is the way of all the kings in the dynasty, because they are all strictly in the line of Lord Krishna. Thus, the devotees of the Lord are never enchanted by the glare of materialistic life, and they live impartially, unattached to the objects of the false, illusory, materialistic way of life. So you see, Srila Prabhupada has given two examples, two very important examples of exalted devotees who are completely telling us, or are instructing us, to stay away from the glare of materialistic life. Why? And because it's a disease, it's bhava roga. We are all conditioned here. And materialistic means of curing this disease is not going, it's going to make it worse. It doesn't help. It does not cure it. Like if we have some materialistic pain, then trying to use materialistic means of curing the pain makes it even worse. Instead, we should all try to make our aim or channelize our goal to become associate of the Lord, back in his spiritual abode, which is the highest achievement, as mentioned in this purport. Highest achievement that one can achieve is to become an associate of the Lord. Just like the Pandavas always wanted to take any advantage, any moment, to just be an associate of Lord Krishna when he was present. They were not at all interested in the imperial throne. They were not at all interested in the gains and profits of the kingdom. They were only wanting a chance to be an associate of the Lord. And when the Lord left, they immediately decided to give up the throne pass it on by disciplic succession to the next king, and then they left for the Golok Vrindavan. It is said that these Pandavas were saintly kings. Evam parampara praptam imam rajarsayo vidhu. So why they are saintly kings? Because they follow the knowledge that has been passed down by disciplic succession. They do not deviate, they do not speculate. As it is, they receive the spiritual knowledge, and this is passed on from one saintly king to another so that they can rule the citizen according to the line of Lord Krishna, according to Lord Krishna's instructions. Any questions from this verse?
Yeah, he was thinking of this association.
Yeah, the association of the Lord. Sometimes it's understood as that association, meaning when Krishna is present, we associate with him, we are sitting next to him, we are walking with him, we are talking with him. But because Krishna is absolute, and in spiritual world there is no difference between Krishna, and even in material world there is no difference between Krishna and his names. So if somebody is chanting his name, that is also associating with Krishna. If somebody is doing a service for Krishna, that is also associating with Krishna. So it's amazing that how Krishna has given us the opportunity to associate with him all the time. And sometimes even without not knowing, you serve devotees, that is also associating with Krishna. Um, and same thing, right? Narad Muni, he became a pure devotee just by associating with those other sages who came in the previous life when he was the son of the maid servant. So just by serving also is like associating with Krishna. So yeah, the opportunities are everywhere. It's just a matter of grabbing it.
But ultimately, our main aim of doing those devotional service in this material world would be to go back to the spiritual world to actually associate with God. That would be the best thing to do. All the devotional services that we enact here associate with the holy name, associate with the great devotee, is ultimately to achieve the spiritual world. And that will be further elaborated in the next few words. Okay?
Any points, Rohit?
Just curious about because we kind of know that there's no difference between devotional service and the kingdom of God. So our association in devotional service, I think, it has many levels of advancement, and I think this point was brought up earlier in the last reading of the Srimad Bhagavatam, that according to your participation with the Lord's association, then you receive that level of achievement in the Vaikuntha planets. So it seems like the quality of our association is very imperative as well in order to actually get to Goloka Vrindavan and not have to come back, because any other destination in the Vaikunthas, we may feel that it's falling down, but actually, again, partaking in devotional service, bhakti, is just like being in the spiritual realm of Vaikuntha. So even getting there, we might be sent back down again in order to raise that quality of association. We may think we've fallen, we haven't fallen, we're here practicing bhakti, encompassing Lord Chaitanya's lila of Sankirtan, and so we're apparently just raising our quality of association to reach Goloka and truly not have to come back. This was a kind of touch back to the last Srimad Bhagavatam.
Yes, we had mentioned, Prabhu had mentioned about the mode of practice. Depending on our mode of सर्वे वयं तावदह्यास्महेत्था
सर्वे वयं इहस्मे तथा
कलेवरं यावदसौ विहाय
कलेवरं यावदसौ विहाय
लोकं परं वीरजस्कं विशोकम्
लोकं परं वीरजस्कं विशोकम्
यास्यति आयं भागवत प्रधानः
यास्यति आयं भगवतः प्रधानः
We shall all wait here until the foremost devotee of the Lord, Maharaj Pariksit, returns to the supreme planet, which is completely free from all mundane contamination and all kinds of lamentation. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada. Beyond the limitation of the material creation, which is compared to the cloud in the sky, there is the Paravyoma, or the spiritual sky full of planets called Vaikunthas. Such Vaikuntha planets are also differently known as the Purushottama Loka, Achyuta Loka, Trivikrama Loka, Rishikesha Loka, Keshava Loka, Aniruddha Loka, Madhava Loka, Pradyumna Loka, Sankarshana Loka, Sridhara Loka, Vasudeva Loka, Ayodhya Loka, Dwaraka Loka, and many other millions of spiritual lokas wherein the personality of Godhead predominates. All the living entities that are liberated souls with spiritual bodies as good as that of the Lord. There is no material contamination. Everything there is spiritual, and therefore there is nothing objectively lamentable. They are full of transcendental bliss and are without birth, death, old age, and disease. And amongst all the above mentioned Vaikuntha Lokas, there is one supreme Loka called Goloka Vrindavan, which is the abode of the Lord Krishna, of Lord Sri Krishna and his specific associates. Maharaj Pariksit was destined to achieve this particular Loka, and the great rishis assembled there could foresee this. All of them consulted among themselves about the great departure of the great king, and they wanted to see him up to the last moment, because they would no more be able to see such a great devotee of the Lord. When a great devotee of the Lord passes away, there is nothing to be lamented, because the devotee is destined to enter into the kingdom of God. But the sorry plight is that such great devotees leave our sight, and therefore there is every reason to be sorry. As the Lord is rarely to be seen by our present eyes, so also are the great devotees. The great rishis therefore correctly decided to remain on the spot till the last moment. So here we are, just a brief summary, that we are seeing the sages that came from all over the Mahatattva. They assembled by Pariksit Maharaj to witness how this great exalted devotee will be going back to Goloka Vrindavan, not any other Vaikuntha planets, but directly to Goloka Vrindavan because of his great devotion for Sri Krishna. So we have also read so many different names of the Vaikuntha planets. So Hanumanji, no matter what, how many times if you tell him pray to Lord Krishna, he won't. His Ishtadev is always going to be Lord Ram. So no matter you can't. That is the mode of practice. So everyone has different Ishtadev or Vishnu or Narayan or Lord Krishna. They all have different moods of worship. So according to the mode of worship, a particular devotee is transcended to either of these Vaikuntha planets. But I don't think if once you go back to a Vaikuntha planet that there is a chance of falling down, unless Krishna has a plan for you, just like Jay and Vijay. They were the guards of the Vaikuntha planet where Vishnu resides, and Jay and Vijay were cursed to become demons, but this was for fulfilling Krishna's desire, for Vishnu's desire. He wanted to fight with someone who had the same strength as him. So that's why he did that. But one very important point from this purport that is nicely coming up is, what should we do? What should our role be, or our emotion be, when devotees are about to pass away? Great exalted devotees are going to be passed away. So I heard Mahatma Prabhu's lecture yesterday, and he very nicely explained that there are two emotions that you should feel. It should be a mixed emotion. Number one, you should feel very happy that, oh, this great exalted devotee that I am witnessing or I'm seeing or I have associated with is now going to go back to Godhead and become associated with Lord Himself. And the second emotion is you should feel very sorry and sad that you're now going to be bereft of his or her association. So that should be like a pain that you should feel also. Just like a mom, when she sees her son going abroad to study, she feels happy that great, that he's going abroad, he's going to settle down very well, he's going to have a great job, and he may have a great family there. But she also feels that pain of separation from his own only son, that who's going to go away from her. So she has that both the feelings, mixed emotions, sorry or sad, as well as happy for the devotee. So both of these emotions should be there whenever we witness a devotee passing away, exalted devotee passing away, who is destined to go back to Godhead. And we have been reading in both the verses that the main achievement is to go back to Godhead, and we are seeing in this purport also how detailed Srila Prabhupada is going and mentioning about the spiritual abode so many times. In fact, Lord Krishna has advertised about his spiritual world so many times in the Bhagavad Gita. Now imagine, you're now given a ticket, or you've given someone has told, or actually Lord Krishna himself has given you the permission to take a short tour in Vaikuntha planet. So you go and you witness Radharani, you see Radharani and Shri Krishna's different pastimes. You participate with the gopis. You eat lunch with Krishna, with the gopas. You see Yashoda Maya and Nanda Maharaj taking care of little Krishna. You see everything. You experience that 24/7 eternal pastimes of the Lord. And then you're sent back to this material world to see how you feel. Okay? You have experienced that eternal bliss, and then you have been sent here for a mission to see if people can be taken back to Godhead or not. Okay, what would you tell the fellow ignorant people? Wouldn't you be like, you rascal, why are you feeling happy in this world? This world is nothing. You are miserable. You do not realize it. You have to come out of this hypnosis that you are in, thinking that this world is happy. I have actually toured, or I have actually been to the Vaikuntha planet, which is so full of bliss. And this place, everything is so temporary. There is nothing to be happy about. Everything is so miserable. That is why Srila Prabhupada, who is directly coming from Golok Vrindavan, has been continuously or constantly telling us that this place is miserable. This place is not meant for us to be. Why? Because he has experienced that bliss. And he comes down here to remind us every time. In so many purports, in so many verses, in Bhagavad Gita, everywhere, we have been hearing this only. That this place is Dukhalayama Shashvatam. Come out of this place. Do not be stuck in this one place which is temporary. There is duality of miseries up and down, birth, death, old age and disease. But there is a place out there for you all where you can achieve eternal happiness. That is why Srila Prabhupada, even if you were in his position, you would be saying the same thing to everyone so that they can remember or come out of their ignorance. That point that made by Mahatma Prabhu I really liked. Whenever we hear from devotees saying that this place is miserable, this place is negative, in our minds we sometimes think, why do devotees always use these negative connotations for this world? Why can't they be positive about their sentences? Yes, according to time, place, circumstance, if you have new devotees, new people coming, if you directly tell them this place is miserable and this place is negative, they'll have a bad impression. But for devotees that are already cultivated, Srila Prabhupada always wanted to remind them that this place is not for you. Keep your sadhana strong, keep your devotional service up to the mark, so that you can get out of this world at the time of death, which is our most important exam, final exam. Any questions on this verse? If not, I will move on.
How to, so for you said that for polished devotees, for those who have been cultivated, who are already serious, and how important it is to be reminded that this is the place of misery, for them to, because we don't say chant and
Be.
no, we don't say that chant and know that this place is miserable. We just chant and be happy, right? But we are again reminded, no, we are not supposed to be happy. We are supposed to be miserable because this is a place of misery. I mean, how can I?
No,
understand
the point is to remember that main point is, even if we are devotees, even if we are chanting regularly, sometimes we get distracted with the ways of materialistic way of life.
all the time?
Exactly. Most of the time we are distracted by materialistic way of life. So to be reminded that this place is miserable makes us chant better, much more stronger, more attentively, and to conduct our devotional service more seriously. Otherwise, we will take everything for granted. We'll plateau in our sadhana or our improvement in bhakti. That happens to so many of us, that initially we are very enthusiastic, and then gradually we just take advantage. Oh, I am in Krishna consciousness, whatever spiritual activity I'm doing is enough. No, it's not enough. We have to keep on thriving for more and more, hankering for more and more.
Couldn't hear my question.
So his question was that, what was your question? His question was that it is said chant and be happy. It doesn't say chant and then remember and feel that this place is miserable. So how do we remind us, what should we do when reminded that this place is miserable?
No, actually, what's the point of reminding that this is when you have already, like, you are having so much fun in Krishna consciousness, you are coming to the temple, you are seeing the deities, you are associating with devotees, and you are having so much fun. So, but of course, we see other people who are suffering, and sometimes even I am suffering, and we see that, and we are reminded, this is a place of misery. But then again, I go back to my services, and again, I'm feeling so happy. And so it's very, how as devotees, how do we remember when we are having chant and be happy moment? So you can repeat the question.
So Alanka Prabhu is asking that what is the purpose of reminding ourselves that this place is miserable, and if we are already associating with devotees and we are already feeling very happy and blissful in Krishna consciousness, what is the reason for reminding ourselves that this place is miserable, this place is not meant for us? But Krishna consciousness movement, or Krishna consciousness, to be steady in Krishna consciousness and to be able to achieve Krishna prema is not so easy. There are so many different obstacles that are present, that are thrown at us, even as cultivated devotees, by Maya Devi. Actually, it is by Lord Krishna himself that is testing us to see if we have that determination, we have the sincerity, the actual prema for him. So during those times when we are thrown obstacles, if we easily get defeated, these reminders that Srila Prabhupada give us in each and every purport, that our main goal is to achieve association of the Lord, our main goal is to come out of this materialistic way of life. He gives us so many different examples of Prahlad Maharaj cursing this material world because it is so painful. He gives Pandavas example that they wanted to never have any glare of materialistic life. So many places we are seeing that we have to try to avoid this the enchantment of the materialistic way of life, because these reminders will help us get more steadier and make us more sincere in bhakti. That's what I feel. Okay, continuing, because we have short time. Ashrutya tadrishi ganava vacha parikshit samam madhu chud guru chavyalikam abhasatayana nabhinanda yuktan shushrusamanas charitani Vishnu. All that was spoken by the great sages was very sweet to hear, full of meaning and appropriately presented as perfectly true. So after hearing them, Maharaj Pariksit, desiring to hear of the activities of Lord Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, congratulated the great sages. So very straightforward in this, that the great sages were appreciating Maharaj Parikshit's decision to completely renounce his worldly orders and come by the bank of Ganges to meditate on the Lord and fast till death. So they have all assembled to witness this. And we're moving on to text 23.
There is one question from YouTube.
Uh-huh.
Naim Prabhu is asking, so what is the short answer to why Krishna has placed all our souls in a painful world? What is the reason?
Not all the souls are here. Like those who are envious of him or who wanted to live independently of the Lord have been given a place where they can independently enjoy themselves away from the Lord. So just like if I'm a mother or a father, I have children, like 4 children, and one of them wants to just stay away from me, and the other 3 want to be with me. No matter how much I try to convince my 4th child, he doesn't want to stay with me. So I give a property for him where he's allowed to stay the way he wants. He can pay the bills, he can make his own food, he does his own thing. And if he faces miseries, then I have to just tolerate. So the Lord tolerates us suffering. Lord sees us suffering in this world. He sees us enjoying this world. He sees how we're independently staying away from him. But as a mother, I still want my son to come back to me. I would never want him to stay separated from me. So the Lord tries to send representatives, or he himself comes down to this world so that he can give these messages. He can spread the word about that eternal abode or his home where he wants us to go back. He wants all his children to go back. But since we want to be independent of him, that's why we are here. And we are suffering because there is no eternal happiness here. It's full of dualities. There's ups and downs. But still we want to be here because we don't realize that this place has ups and downs. We just think there's one life and that is it. But we don't realize that the cycle of birth that keeps on continuing because our soul is eternal, because we are part and parcel of the Lord. But we don't realize that. We just think that one body and one life. Good question. Okay, moving on to 23. Samagata sarvate vata eva sarve veda yatha murti dharastri prishte nehatam namutra chakashan nartha rite paranugraham atmashilam. The king said, O great sages, you have all very kindly assembled here. Having come from all parts of the universe, you are all as good as supreme knowledge personified, who resides in the planet above the 3 worlds, Satya Loka. Consequently, you are naturally inclined to do good to others, and but for this you have no interest either in this life or in the next. So this purport is very nice. 6 kinds of opulences, namely wealth, strength, fame, beauty, knowledge, and renunciation, are all originally the different attributes pertaining to the absolute personality of Godhead. The living beings, who are part and parcel entities of the Supreme Being, have all these attributes partially, up to the full strength of 78%. In the material world, these attributes, up to 78% of the Lord's attributes, are covered by the material energy as the sun is covered by a cloud. The covered strength of the sun is very dim compared to the original glare, and similarly, the original color of living beings with such attributes become almost extinct. There are three planetary systems, namely the lower worlds, the intermediate worlds, and the upper worlds. The human beings on Earth are situated at the beginning of the intermediate worlds, but living beings like Brahma and his contemporaries live in the upper worlds, of which the topmost is Satyaloka. In Satyaloka, the inhabitants are fully or cognizant of Vedic wisdom, and thus the mystic cloud of material energy is cleared. Therefore, they are known as Vedas personified. Such persons, being fully aware of knowledge, both mundane and transcendental, have no interest in either the mundane or transcendental worlds. They are practically desireless devotees. In the mundane world, they have nothing to achieve, and in the transcendental world, they are full in themselves. I mean, why do they come to the mundane world? They descend to different planets as messiahs by the order of the Lord to deliver the fallen souls. On the earth, they come down and do good to the people of the world in different circumstances, under different climatic influences. They have nothing to do in this world save and except reclaim the fallen souls rotting in material existence, deluded by material energy. Yes. So here, Pariksit Maharaj is glorifying the sages after hearing their sweet words. And this is the quality of an exalted devotee or devotees. They glorify each other, and that makes their relationship so sweet and so loving, so full of bond. So Pariksit Maharaj is saying that the sages that had assembled were not ordinary personalities. They were great personalities. In fact, he says the Sanskrit word Vedaha yatha murti dharas. So they are supreme knowledge personified. So they have achieved Vedic realization. They have all the knowledge in complete. And the purport is starting with all the 6 kinds of opulences that the Lord has in complete. But we jivas that are part and parcel can have a maximum of 78%. So I am sure most of you all have heard that there are 64 qualities or gunas. Lord Krishna has 64 of these qualities in complete or in full. However, the jivas can have a maximum of 50. So when you do 50 by 64 into 100, it's 78%. So that's what is being talked about. So these attributes are those 64 gunas, and jivas can have only 78%. So Satya Loka, those who are the inhabitants like Brahma and the other sages, they have full 78% and they are not covered by any illusion. However, we that are present in this Bhuloka, or those others who are enamored by the material world, we have this covering or this conditioning or this cloud that dims our 78% qualities. That's what is mentioned. And how do we come out of this or become 78% full of our attributes? Is by realizing God realization, by being being fully realized of the Vedas, just like the inhabitants of the Satya Loka, being fully cognizant of Vedic wisdom. That's how we can gain our full 78% attributes. Without that, without knowing that, we will never get our spiritual form. In order to get our spiritual form, we have to love the Lord. We need to realize that this is not our body. We are stuck in this material world. And these great exalted personalities, if you read the purport, it has been emphasized, and even Maharaj Pariksit emphasizes that they are desireless devotees. They have nothing to do with the mundane world, and when they are in the transcendental world, they are full in themselves, meaning they have their full attributes. So they just work, they act according to the Lord's desires in the transcendental world. They do not have any particular their own desire in the transcendental world. So that is the beauty of being such an exalted devotee. And why do they come to this mundane world? So Srila Prabhupada came to this material world from the spiritual world, so that he could deliver the fallen souls like us. So we should be so indebted to him. So Lord Krishna sent such great personalities or Vedic personality, personified personalities to this world, so that we can be delivered from this material energy. So it's such a beautiful thing that these, without the association of such great personalities, it would be so difficult. And then I have one more verse, and that will be, it's very short, but very important, the most important verse of four of them. Tatascha va pritcham imam vipriche vishrabhya vipra iti krityatayam sarvatmana mriyamanaischa krityam sudham cha tatramrisatabhiyuktaha. O trustworthy Brahmanas, I now ask you about my immediate duty. Please, after proper deliberation, tell me of the unalloyed duty of everyone in all circumstances, and specifically of those who are just about to die. The purport. In this verse, the king has placed two very important questions before the learned sages. The first question is, what is the duty of everyone in all circumstances? And the second question is, what is the specific duty of one who is to die very shortly? Out of the two, the question relating to the dying man is the most important, because everyone is a dying man, either very shortly or after 100 years. The duration of life is immaterial, but the duty of a dying man is very important. Maharaj Pariksit placed these two questions before Sukadeva Goswami also on his arrival. And practically the whole of Srimad Bhagavatam, beginning from the second canto up to the last, the 12th canto, deals with these two questions. The conclusion arrived at thereof is that devotional service of the Lord Sri Krishna, as it is confirmed by the Lord himself in the last phases of the Bhagavad Gita, is the last word in relation to everyone's permanent duty in life. Maharaj Pariksit was already aware of this fact, but he wanted the great sages assembled there to unanimously give their verdict on his conviction, so that he might be able to go on with his confirmed duty without controversy. He has especially mentioned the word shuddha, or perfectly correct. For transcendental realization or self-realization, many processes are recommended by various classes of philosophers. Some of them are first-class methods, and some of them are second or third-class methods. The first-class method demands that one give up all other methods and surrender unto the lotus feet of the Lord, and thus be saved from all sins and their reactions. So Pariksit Maharaj is hitting the very fundamental question of our life. What is our duty? What is our swadharma? What is our swadharma? So we generally think our swadharma is maintenance of the body, then carrying out our family duties, then carrying out our job duties. But that is very low. That is not the type of dharma that we should be focused on. We have got this human life we got this rare human form after millions of lifetime. So our higher swadharma or our duty to our soul is to connect with the Lord, is to understand our relationship with the Lord. And how can we do that? It has been mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam, it has been mentioned in Bhagavad Gita, that by Lord Krishna himself, that Krishna is the absolute truth and everything else is relative to him. And our main goal is to go back to Godhead, which is the ultimate goal. That is our ultimate goal. If we realize, then all our duties will be focused on achieving that goal. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, how do we achieve this goal? 9.34, and he repeats that same instruction in 18.65. Does anyone remember? 9.34. Yes, it is man mana bhava madbhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mam evaishyasi yuktvavam atmanam madparayanaha. We must engage our mind in thinking of the Lord and worship him by engaging in unalloyed devotional service. Then only we will go back to him, to his Godhead. go back to his abode. And and Prahlad Maharaj has given us that 9 very important ways of conducting devotional service: Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pata Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Sakhyam, Dasyam, Atmanivedanam. Those 9 processes, if we focus on carrying out devotional service every day in our life, then we gradually get closer to our beloved Lord. And then with the help of great devotees, association of representatives of the Lord, can we get the mercy to go back to Godhead. Like Pariksit Maharaj is not alone here. That's a very important. He, being a great exalted devotee, he knows what his duty is. He already knows. He knows how to conduct that duty also. But he still wants confirmation from all the great sages. And then only he feels that when he gets that confirmation from them, that his conviction to carry out his devotion, his last duty at the time of that, will become much more stronger without any controversy. So we should not think that practicing Krishna consciousness is an alone business. It has to be conducted in the association of great exalted devotees. We definitely need a guide. We need a bona fide spiritual master who can guide us and actually give us the mercy so that we can get the attention of the Lord. Without the mercy of another devotee, it's very hard to get Krishna's mercy or Krishna's attention. So that's something that Pariksit Maharaj is also teaching us from this purport. And the last part of this purport is mentioning about the Shuddha duty, first class method. There are many philosophers, many practices out there. We've read in Bhagavad Gita also this Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Hatha Yoga, Astanga Yoga, so many different types of yoga that one can practice. Dhyana Yoga, Buddha Yoga. So Sri Krishna has mentioned all these different methods, but he's also mentioned the first class method in 9th chapter, in 7th chapter, so many different chapters. He's mentioning that if you have bhakti for me, if you have that sincere, unalloyed devotional bhakti for me, that is the easiest way to go back to Godhead. And that's the first class method that we should focus on. Surrendering unto the lotus feet of the Lord, then only we'll be safe from all sins and their reactions. If we try the other second class, third class method, we don't know whether we'll ever be able to reach our final goal or ultimate goal, which is to associate with the Lord himself. So people get trapped very easily by deviant methods, speculative philosophies, and different types of made up methods or religion. So we have to be careful about that and try to seek out bona fide teachers who can actually make us understand the goal of life. If someone is not trying to make us understand the goal of life, that means it's a materialistic process. So we have to be very careful about how we are spending our time as this rare human form. With that, I want to end the Sravanam Saturday today, Sravanam Bhagavatam class today, unless you have any questions.
Yeah, I have one question, but there are a lot of questions on YouTube as well. Subal Sakha Prabhu, you have? No. So you mentioned that, here Pariksit Maharaj is saying that, okay, what is the highest goal? But at the same time, and you mentioned that, all these other family duties, career, job, other duties are not that important. This is the highest goal that one should always be thriving for. So are you suggesting that people should not take the other things seriously and focusing, because that's what you said, that
No.
other things are not so important. This is the most important is to perfect our life
to focus on our swadharma towards Krishna.
Swadharma towards Krishna. Yeah. But at the same time, Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, yam yam vapismaram bhavam chajate kalevaram, and then tasmat sarvesu kaleshu mamanusmara yudhyacha. That no, highest highest goal is to remember me. Think of Antakalacha Mameva. Yeah, think of me at the time of death. And 8.8 he says that no, but at the same time you carry out your prescribed duties.
Yeah, I just said there are two types of Swadharma. One is lower and one is higher. So our low priorities or lower Swadharma is whatever duties that we have to fulfill in our materialistic world. But our highest goal or our highest Swadharma should be to focus or to engage all our duties in or keep Krishna in the center while we are carrying out all our duties. Just like all the other acharyas, all our senior devotees conduct or have given examples, like Srila Prabhupada himself. He never left his family just like that. He did his family duties, and then when it was time, he came to the west to spread the word about Lord Shri Krishna.
Okay, so there is another question. There's a lot of questions on YouTube. Charuta is asking, so she's going back to the point of when you talked about why we are sent here by Krishna, and you gave the example of a mother who is sending the child. So here is the question, that nice points, but why would he sanction the fulfillment of these why would he sanction the fulfillment of a desire that is bad for us? Taking this analogy of parents and kids, would a parent give something bad for the kid even if the kid is stubborn? Is the idea just that Krishna is merciful, hence something even if it is bad, that we are getting shorthand stick of so anyway, you get the point.
I get the point, but we see, all of us, we don't know exactly how much, what level of envy we had towards the Lord, and what was our interaction with him to come here. Like that part we have obviously forgotten, and our main aim is to actually try to remember our constitutional position that we actually had initially before coming to this world. So I mean, even if you think of a mother and child, or not even a mother and child, father child, or any parental relationship, we can't force our children to do something after a certain point of age, or like they on our own. But he provided us a place so that we can ultimately try to remember him. If this place was completely heavenly, with no anxiety, no problem, we would not even think of going back to him, because we are all happy. We're happy together. We have good family. We have car. We have house. We have job. No miseries. Job goes on very nicely. Then we wouldn't even think of, oh, the Lord was so nice to us, and here now we are stuck in this material world. We would never have thought about going back to him. So sometimes situations happen even with parents and children, that children want to stay, or something happens to them and they don't want to come back. But then maybe later on in their life they realize the importance of their parents, and then they come back. So something like that. What do you think? Hope it answers.
So what's our final points?
Okay.
Jai
Jai Hare Krishna.
Jai
Jai
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Nice.